1997. Gerald K. Haines, official historian of the CIA. He publishes a paper in Studies in Intelligence, the agency's classified internal journal, read only by cleared personnel. That paper blows open 40 years of state secrets. Half of all UFO sightings between the 1950s and 1960s were not alien craft. They were U-2 and State Route 71 spy planes. The CIA knew. They hid the truth on purpose. And this was no last-minute cover-up. The plan was written in 1953. And it included a very unlikely partner, Walt Disney. 1947 to 1952. The U.S. Air Force logs more than 5,000 UFO sightings. The Roswell incident of July 1947 fuels the panic. Cold War paranoia stokes it further. 1952, the Pentagon launches Project Blue Book. Its official mission, per National Archives records, RG-341, reassure the public. At the exact same time, the CIA works in secret with Lockheed Skunk Works engineer Kelly Johnson on a classified aerial reconnaissance program, Project AQUATONE. The program gives birth to the U-2 spy plane. It flies at 70,000 feet, 20,000 feet higher than any military or civilian aircraft on the planet in that era. January 1953. U-2 test flights are weeks away. The CIA convenes a secret group. It includes top scientists and one A-list media personality. Their job, craft a strategy to handle UFO sightings. For 44 years, the official story never wavers. The U.S. Air Force, through Project Blue Book, 1952 to 1969, insists 95% of UFO sightings are natural phenomena. Meteors, weather balloons, light glints, misidentified commercial planes. The 701 cases labeled unexplained in 1969's final report. The Air Force calls them no evidence of extraterrestrial visitation or foreign military threat. The CIA goes further. It claims it never played any role in UFO disinformation. Its only job, it says, was to monitor UFO reports for signs of Soviet incursions. Even after the U-2 program was exposed in 1960, no government official ever publicly linked the spy flights to decades of UFO sightings. That detail stayed buried. But the cracks were already there. Here's what the official story never explained. First, the Robertson Panel. The government calls it a scientific committee, assembled to dispel public fears about UFOs. But the Robertson Report, declassified in 1979, available in the CIA's FOIA reading room, recommends 3 explicit policies. 1. A public desensitization campaign. 2. Surveillance of civilian UFO research groups like AQUATONE. 3. Use of mainstream media to trivialize UFO sightings. Second, Project Blue Book. The U.S. Air Force claims it was an independent, transparent investigation. But declassified Project AQUATONE documents, released in July 1994, tell a different story. The CIA regularly interfered with Blue Book case files. It did so to hide U-2 flights. It deliberately created unexplained cases to draw attention away from its spy planes. Third, the CIA's role. The government insists the CIA never used UFOs as cover for secret programs. But that 1997 article by Gerald K. Haines, written by the CIA's own official historian, confirms it. Half of all UFO sightings from the 1950s to the 1960s were U-2 and State Route 71 spy flights. That one seemingly minor detail changed everything. Every part of this story is confirmed by declassified government records. They are available to the public in the CIA's FOIA reading room and the National Archives, NORA RG-341. The Robertson Report, dated January 17, 1953, declassified in 1979. It lists its recommendations in black and white: surveillance of civilian UFO groups APRO and NICAP, a media campaign of public desensitization, and a specific request for Walt Disney, who served as a panel member, to create content that would trivialize UFO sightings. Gerald K. Haines' 1997 article in Studies in Intelligence. It includes a precise, damning number: more than half of the 12,618 UFO sightings reviewed by Project Blue Book between 1952 and 1969 were U-2 or State Route 71 flights. Project AQUATONE documents, declassified in July 1994. They prove the CIA regularly briefed President Dwight Eisenhower about the fake UFO sightings generated by U-2 flights at 70,000 feet. But those briefings were classified. No information ever reached the public. No commercial pilots were warned. Even most U.S. Air Force officers had no clue. The numbers hit even harder. In 1967, the State Route 71 Blackbird began training flights out of Beale Air Force Base in California. In one single month, the U.S. Air Force logged 2,850 UFO sightings in the Los Angeles area. That number lines up exactly with the Blackbird's flight schedules. The State Route 71 flew at Mach 3, at 85,000 feet, faster and higher than any craft the public knew existed. Even the 1960 downing of Francis Gary Powers' U-2 over Sverdlovsk, USSR, did not crack the cover-up. The CIA chose one lie over another. It let the public keep believing in aliens. It refused to admit the full scope of its top-secret reconnaissance programs. That detail would haunt researchers for decades. Here's what actually happened. The declassified records reveal a truth far more disturbing than accidental misidentification. People did not just happen to believe in aliens. They were manipulated into believing. This was a deliberate plan. It was approved at the highest levels of the U.S. government. The CIA did not just let confusion spread. It actively fed it. It interfered with Project Blue Book investigations to create unexplained cases. It monitored innocent civilians who had committed no crime. It used A-list media figures like Walt Disney to make anyone reporting a UFO look foolish. President Dwight Eisenhower knew the whole truth. Project AQUATONE briefings confirm he knew the UFOs popping up on radars and in eyewitness reports were U.S. spy planes. He said nothing. For 40 years, millions of people believed Earth was being visited by extraterrestrials. The CIA used that belief as a perfect shield. It protected its most sensitive top-secret programs from scrutiny. And that's when the story takes an even darker turn. This story is not history. It is happening right now. In 2020, the Pentagon officially acknowledged the existence of ATIP, the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. It ran from 2007 to 2012, with a $22 million budget. FOIA documents confirm the CIA was deeply involved. Témoignage, according to 3 whistleblowers who testified under oath before the U.S. Congress in July 2023, the U.S. government possesses physical materials recovered from non-human vehicles. That same year, Congress passed the UAP Disclosure Act. It mandates the declassification of all government records related to UFOs and UAPs within 25 years. One question remains unanswered. Is this new wave of transparency real? Or is it just another cover-up for even more sensitive, still classified programs? No official involved in the 40-year UFO disinformation campaign of the 1950s to the 1990s has ever faced consequences. No one has ever been held accountable. For 40 years, the CIA deliberately used public belief in UFOs as a cover for its U-2 and State Route 71 spy plane programs. That is not speculation. That is a fact confirmed by the CIA's own official historian, and by thousands of pages of declassified government records. The plan was approved at the highest levels of the U.S. government. It included deliberate disinformation of the public. It included surveillance of innocent, law-abiding civilians. Today, the new wave of UAP revelations raises the exact same question that hung over the 1950s. What is the U.S. government really hiding? Subscribe to The Truth They Hide. Hit the notification bell so you never miss the next revelation.